Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'll be answering the question, how far away should you put your mics from your guitar? So let's get into it. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe. It would really help support the channel. This is probably one of the questions I get asked the most, and it's also the hardest to answer, because there's so many variables that go into where you should put your microphone in your room when you're recording. A lot of it has to do with the size of the room, the dimensions of the room, or whether or not you have it acoustically treated, and whether or not you have it properly acoustically treated. But I'd like to give you guys a few guidelines on where to put your microphones, kind of as a good starting point, and then I'm going to demonstrate the effect that moving the mics away from the guitar has on the sound of the microphones. Usually when you're recording in a home studio, even a well-treated home studio, you kind of want to move the mics a little bit closer than if you were recording in a really reverberant space. If I was in a concert hall, if I was in a church, if I was in a large room, maybe even a living room, you can get away with a little bit more than if you're in a really small studio, especially one that's a small rectangle or a cube. Even if the room's treated, it can still have a really artificially boxy sound in the recording. And it gets worse when you add reverb. So to minimize this, I try to find a compromise between putting the mic so close to the guitar that it just sounds noisy and weird, but also far enough away that when I add reverb, it doesn't sound completely artificial. So now I'm going to gradually demonstrate what effect moving the microphones has on how much room is picked up in your recording. I'm going to start the recording with the mics almost ridiculously close to the guitar, to the point where it picks up too much nail noise and string squeaks, and just sounds a little bit odd. And then I'm going to gradually move them back until they're ridiculously far away. And in the middle, you might find a little bit of a sweet spot where they sound just right, kind of the Goldilocks zone. Now, something to consider, and this is also another question I get asked, is what do you do with the preamp gain on your interface or your preamp when you're recording? Now, if your preamp doesn't have a lot of gain, you're almost forced to move the mics a little bit closer, otherwise it'll just be a really faint signal. Likewise, as you start moving the microphone away, you're going to really have to increase that preamp gain to kind of compensate. Now, if you're doing mostly digital audio, which pretty much everybody is at this point unless you happen to have like a tape machine in your bedroom, you can get away with a little bit of a quieter signal than you otherwise would if you're trying to record to tape or like analog or something like that. But generally speaking, you at least want it to be about -30 dBFS. Once you start going lower than that, then you start running into some noise floor problems or just some weird artifacts when you artificially boost the gain in post. So now let me get set up and then I'll demonstrate. So as you can see, the tone varies greatly depending on where I put the microphones in the room. Up close, they sound a little weird and artificial. The middle distance sounds the most natural. And then if I put the mics on the other end of the room, you can really hear the ringing boxiness of the room. So always try to find a compromise between distance and a good room sound. So that's my time. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments or topics you want me to cover in future videos like this one, please leave them down below. I'll see you guys in the next video.